EduVerse PD podcast, brought to you by ProEd Education Solutions, your on-the-go professional development. Welcome to the world's first education podcast hosted by AI. Today, our brilliant AI co-hosts, Andy and Liz, are tackling an essential topic that's been making waves in education: classroom engagement, and more specifically, the power of movement. They'll be exploring the article Movement Matters, Boosting Engagement and Connection by Judy-Ann Green, featured in EduVerse Newsletter, Issue 17. Get ready for some fresh insights and practical tips. Andy and Liz.
Welcome back to the EduVerse PD series, your shortcut to staying ahead of the curve in education.
I'm Liz, and I'm excited to unpack some powerful insights today.
And I'm Andy. Let's jump right in.
Today, we're deep diving into the concept of purposeful movement in the classroom.
Interesting.
Our source is a fantastic article by Judy-Ann Green, an award-winning educator who truly walks the walk.
You can tell she's passionate about this.
Yeah, Judy-Ann has tons of experience working with students all over the world.
The article is packed with personal stories and practical examples, which I always find helpful.
It's not just theory,
right?
It's real-world wisdom.
Exactly. Green starts off with this great anecdote about her grandfather, who always told her, move with purpose. Such a simple phrase, but it really resonated with me.
It connects beautifully to something educational coach Julian Brunoir once said. The best teachers don't just stand in front of the classroom. They become part of the student's journey.
Okay, let's unpack those quotes for a second. What makes them so powerful in the context of education?
It's about active engagement, not just delivering information, but really being present with your students, guiding them on their learning journey. And Green argues that movement, when used intentionally, can be a key part of that journey.
So she's not just talking about letting kids run wild, right? This is about purposeful movement, carefully chosen physical activities that actually enhance the learning process.
Exactly. And she highlights how beneficial this can be for students who might struggle in a traditional classroom setting. Think about kids with dyslexia, auditory processing challenges, or those who just learn best by doing. Sitting still all day might not be their recipe for success.
Makes you wonder why we ever thought it was the best way to learn for anyone.
Right. Green cites a recent study by James et al. It was fascinating. They found a clear link between physical activity and academic achievement. And when you think about it, it makes sense. Our brains and bodies aren't separate entities. They work together.
So how does movement bridge that gap between the mental and the physical?
Well, think of it this way. When students are moving, they're engaging multiple senses, multiple parts of their brains. They're making connections between abstract concepts and concrete experiences. And that's what makes learning stick.
It's like building those neural pathways, right?
Precisely. And because every student learns differently, purposeful movement offers a way to cater to those unique styles, creating a learning environment that's inclusive and engaging for everyone.
Green also makes a really interesting point about how traditional classrooms can feel isolating for some students.
Imagine you're a student who struggles to process information auditorily. Sitting in a quiet classroom, trying to absorb everything through lectures could be overwhelming, even anxiety-inducing. You might feel like you're falling behind, like you don't belong. But in a classroom that incorporates movement, you have other ways to engage. You can participate in activities that play to your strengths, express yourself physically, and collaborate with your peers in a more hands-on way.
It's about leveling the playing field, creating a space where everyone can thrive.
Exactly. And it's about fostering those social and emotional connections that are so vital for learning.
Now, Green doesn't just talk about the theory. She gives us some really concrete examples of purposeful movement in action. I love the idea of a math measurement race, where students actually have to run and measure distances to solve problems.
Oh, that's fantastic. Or imagine having students build hydroponic systems to learn about plant science. It brings those abstract concepts to life in a way that's exciting and memorable.
You can practically feel the energy in those classrooms. Kids aren't just memorizing facts, they're experiencing them.
And wouldn't that make them so much more likely to remember what they've learned?
Absolutely. So to help teachers bring these ideas into their own classrooms, Green outlines a practical guide with 4 key strategies. First up, she suggests integrating movement directly into lessons. This could involve stations, rotating tasks, anything that gets students up and moving while they're learning.
Then there are brain breaks. We all need those, students and teachers alike. A quick burst of physical activity can refocus everyone's minds and bodies, helping them come back to the lesson refreshed and ready to learn.
I love that. Green also emphasizes the importance of kinesthetic learning, especially for subjects like math and science. This means moving beyond those abstract concepts on a whiteboard and letting students use their bodies to interact with the material. Instead of just reading about fractions, they're using manipulatives to build them. Instead of just learning about angles, they're using their bodies to form them. It makes those abstract concepts tangible and understandable.
It's about creating a truly multisensory learning experience, tapping into those different learning styles and strengths.
And finally, Green encourages us to think about how we can foster collaboration through movement. This could involve outdoor team-building exercises or even just structuring discussions in a way that allows students to move around and interact more freely.
It's about breaking down those physical barriers that can sometimes exist in a traditional classroom and creating a more dynamic and fluid learning environment.
And it's not just about the students, is it? Green reminds us that the teacher's movement matters too. It's about being an active participant in the learning process, not just a lecturer standing at the front of the room.
Right. Green suggests circulating the room, using proximity thoughtfully, observing students' body language, and positioning ourselves strategically to facilitate interactions. It's about being present and engaged, sending that nonverbal message that we are invested in our students' success.
I love that it took a subtle but powerful way to shift the energy in the classroom. Instead of the teacher being this distant authority figure, they become a guide, a collaborator in the learning process.
Exactly. It's about building those relationships, fostering trust and connection, and creating a sense of community in the classroom.
Green shares a really powerful story about a student who was grieving the loss of a sibling. This student was withdrawn and silent, but when Green noticed her distress and encouraged her to take a break, it created an opening for connection.
That story really highlights the importance of being attuned to our students' emotional needs. It's about recognizing that each student comes to the classroom with their own unique experiences and challenges, and that sometimes the most powerful teaching moments happen outside the confines of a lesson plan.
It's about seeing our students as whole people, not just learners.
Exactly. And it's about understanding that movement can be a powerful tool for emotional expression and regulation. Sometimes the best way to process difficult emotions is to move our bodies to get that energy out, to create space for healing and connection. That story really got me thinking about the connection between movement and emotional well-being. We know that exercise releases endorphins, those feel-good chemicals in the brain, but it's more than just a mood boost.
Right. What's the science behind this? How does movement actually impact our ability to learn and process information?
It's fascinating. Neuroscience is showing us that movement is crucial for cognitive function. Think about neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and adapt. Movement stimulates this process, helping to create new neural connections.
So those math measurement races and hydroponics projects aren't just fun and games. They're actually rewiring students' brains.
Exactly. And it's not just about academic learning. Movement also plays a key role in developing executive function skills like focus, planning, and self-regulation, skills that are essential for success both in and out of the classroom.
This makes me wonder, why do we so often separate physical education from academic subjects? It's like we've created this artificial divide between the body and the mind, when in reality they're completely interconnected.
I agree. It's a disservice to our students. Green's approach reminds us that learning is a holistic experience. We need to engage the whole child, body, mind, and spirit to truly unlock their potential.
She also talks about how teachers' movements can impact the classroom atmosphere, which is something I hadn't really considered before.
It's so true. Our nonverbal communication speaks volumes. When teachers move with purpose, circulating the room, making eye contact, engaging with students individually, it signals that they're present, attentive, invested in each student's success.
It's like a silent language that conveys respect and care.
Exactly. And it can help to create a more relaxed and welcoming learning environment. When teachers are moving with energy and enthusiasm, it's contagious. Students pick up on that vibe and feel more motivated and engaged.
Thinking back to Green's story about the grieving student, it really highlights how a teacher's movements can create a safe space for emotional expression and connection. Sometimes just being physically present, offering a comforting touch or a listening ear, can make all the difference.
It's about recognizing that our students are not just learners, but human beings with complex emotions, experiences, and needs. And our ability to connect with them on a human level is just as important as our content knowledge.
In her article, Green cautions us that lack of intentionality in our teaching can lead to detrimental outcomes. What does she mean by that?
I think she's warning us against becoming complacent or robotic in our approach. If we're not intentional, if we're not present, if we're not actively seeking to connect with our students, we risk missing those crucial moments where we can make a real difference in their lives.
It's so easy to get bogged down in the day-to-day demands of teaching. Lesson plans, assessments, classroom management, but we can't lose sight of the human element. These kids are looking to us for guidance, for support, for connection.
Right. We have to remember that we're shaping not just minds, but hearts and souls. And our movements, our words, our actions all send messages that can have a profound impact on our students' development.
There's another quote from Green's article that really resonated with me. As mentors, teachers must be vigilant and empathetic, understanding that our students are not just learners, but individuals with rich and complex lives.
It's a powerful reminder that teaching is about so much more than delivering content. It's about nurturing the whole child, recognizing their individuality, and creating a learning environment where they feel seen, heard, and valued.
And movement can be a key part of that equation. It can help to create a more dynamic, engaging, and inclusive learning experience that meets the needs of all students.
It can help us build stronger relationships with our students, foster a sense of community in the classroom, and create those magical aha moments where learning comes alive.
Green issues a powerful call to action for all educators. Be intentional in your methods, compassionate in your interactions, and proactive in addressing the diverse needs of your students.
It's a call to embrace the power of movement, to be present and attentive, and to create learning environments that nurture the whole child.
I love how she frames teaching as heart work. It's not just about intellect. It's about empathy, connection, and a genuine desire to make a positive difference in the lives of our students.
She reminds us that every interaction, every gesture, every moment of purposeful movement has the potential to create a ripple effect that extends far beyond the classroom.
Green encourages educators to embrace every moment of connection, for in each shared step of their journey lies the power to illuminate paths and transform lives.
Those words are so inspiring. They remind us of the profound responsibility and privilege we have as educators.
I think Green's ideas have the potential to revolutionize the way we think about teaching and learning. It's not just about what happens in our heads. It's about how we move, how we interact, how we create a vibrant and engaging learning environment that supports the whole child.
I couldn't agree more. Her work is a powerful reminder that movement matters and that intentional, compassionate teaching has the power to transform lives.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Judy-Ann Green's work on purposeful movement, what are some key takeaways that our listeners can apply in their own educational settings? What really stood out to you?
Well, what's fascinating is that Green's article is more than just a set of tips and tricks, right?
Yeah.
It's a call to rethink our whole approach to teaching. It's about shifting from a model where learning is primarily passive and receptive to one where it's active, engaging, and embodied.
It's about recognizing that movement isn't just a break from learning. It's an integral part of the learning process itself.
Exactly. It's about creating a learning environment where movement is woven into the fabric of the day, not just an afterthought.
So for our listeners who are eager to put these ideas into practice, where should they start? What's one small step they can take this week?
I'd say start by simply observing your students. Pay attention to their energy levels, their body language, their engagement. Are they restless? Are they zoning out? Are they fidgeting? These are all cues that they might benefit from more movement.
It's about becoming more attuned to our students' physical as well as their emotional needs.
Precisely. And then start experimenting with small changes. Maybe it's adding a 5-minute brain break in the middle of a long lesson.
Right.
Maybe it's incorporating more hands-on activities or simply encouraging students to stand up and stretch every now and then.
What's important is to start somewhere, to make that initial shift in our mindset and our approach.
Green reminds us that even small changes can have a big impact. Every time we encourage a student to move, to interact, to express themselves physically, we're creating an opportunity for deeper learning, stronger connections, and greater well-being.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. Green's article has really challenged me to think differently about the role of movement in education.
Yeah. It's not just about getting kids up and moving, is it?
No.
It's about recognizing the profound connection between our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. It's about creating a learning environment that nourishes the whole child.
So to our listeners, we leave you with this question. What will you do to bring more purposeful movement into your own educational setting? How will you embrace this opportunity to transform your classroom, your students, and perhaps even yourself?
Remember, movement matters. It's not just good for our physical health. It's essential for our cognitive, emotional, and social well-being.
Thanks for joining us on the power of purposeful movement. We hope you'll continue to explore these ideas and share your experiences with us.
Until next time, keep moving and keep learning.
That was an inspiring conversation. Thank you, Andy and Liz, for highlighting the incredible role movement plays in boosting classroom engagement. If you want to explore the full article, Movement Matters, Boosting Engagement and Connection by Judy-Ann Green, be sure to check out EduVerse Newsletter, issue 17, available on our website at www.proed.com.vn/eduverse. And remember, we're always looking for new voices to contribute. If you have ideas, strategies, or experiences to share, head over to our website and submit your article. Thanks for listening, and we can't wait to welcome you back in our next episode of the EduVerse PD podcast, brought to you by ProEd Education Solutions.